Hello.
Well, hello there. It's Tuesday at noon. We're so happy to be here.
We are happy to be here, and we are in the right place for Masterclass, which we're super excited about. And we've had quite the morning at
We have, and we're going to be talking about it later today. And for anybody who's watching, the key word for today is #pivot.
That is exactly right. But we're really glad you're here today. And my name is Janet Craig. I'm one of the founding partners of Women Doing Better. And
I'm Barbara Anderson, the other founding partner. And we have a company called Destination Better that we've had together for about 6 years, right, Janet?
That's right.
We've coached some of the largest companies in the world on being environmentally and socially responsible, and #pivot. In 2020, we created Women Doing Better because we saw a need for women to have community and that support. So thank you for supporting the community today and being with us, ladies. And we'd love to know where you're watching from, if you want to put that in the comments.
Right. That's right. We are in not so sunny St. Pete today. It's a little, but we're here nonetheless. And we're glad that you're here too. All right. So what in the world are we here for today?
We're going to cover the 7 key decisions for 2021. We all need that little boost, I think.
We do. We are going to show you today, based on what Barbara and I have used in our business at Destination Better, and also at Women Doing Better, the 7-step system that we use. We always come back to, if we have question marks over our head, we always go back to the first question. And we move through the questions so that we can get clear and confident on that decision that we're making. So today we're going to teach you about a little bit about what that process looks like, so that you can create a life that you love too.
Well, and if I could add this, Janet, the ladies who are participating hopefully registered so that they received the worksheet. And if they haven't, they can go to womendoingbetter.com/2021 and grab that worksheet and follow along, because we're going to be going through it here in a minute, aren't we?
We are, and we're going to try to move fast today. We always say that, but we get so excited and so passionate about it that we don't. But we're going to try to stay on track and on time today.
Yeah, we're going to try to do this in an hour, and at the end we'll have Q&A. So if you want to stay for that, that would be great.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's do this.
All right. So today we are going to show you how you can make the ultimate shift from being unsure and a little stressed. That's how we felt in 2020, and we don't want to feel that way anymore. So we want you to be clear and confident in 2021 with this 7-step system to transform your strengths, your skills, and your passions, so that you can kind of think through, what would a life I love look like? There might be bits and pieces of your life that you love a lot right now that you would never want to change, and there might be some that you do want to change. So we're going to talk through those today. And just for being here today, we have an extra special gift for you, and that is called our wants and our don't wants list. And it's a really amazing tool. I use it a couple of times a year just as a good touch base with myself. And so you'll get the tool, and also there's some video coaching that goes along with it. And so you can get that at womendoingbetter.com/wants. And we have one extra special little thing for you. And that is, if you stay to the end, we are going to share with you our super secret, no-cost solution for some things that you can put in place today to just make some, besides the amazing 7 questions that we're going to go over today, but one little thing that you can do today to make some progress toward creating that life that you love.
And because we're going to be going lickety-split today, we do want you to think about turning off all your distractions. I know that women in general are really good multitaskers, and I pride myself in that, but there's actually lots of downsides to that. So this is like some me time. So turn off the notifications, maybe close your door, and treat yourself here, maybe you could grab a snack, because I'm a big snack girl, and go along with us on this journey. So let's ask you this. Think about this. Why did you come today? We're going to go through 3 scenarios. Take a note of which one you are, because we're going to ask you to put in the comments which one you are. Are you number 1, feeling overwhelmed and unsure? You want to have control of your life, but you aren't sure where to start. You know you were made for more. Or number 2, 2020 made you realize you want more out of life, and that unless you take deliberate action, things won't change. Or number 3, you're excited about the possibilities of 2021 when you hear how other women are generating income doing what they truly love.
That is right. So tell us in the comments. You can just type in a 1, a 2, a 3. You could type in all of the above, I guess, if you wanted.
Mm-hmm.
But 1, do you feel like you were made for more? 2, are you ready to take action? And 3, are you super excited about your possibilities? We call ourselves glass half full. And while I know, and we all know, and that's why we've built this amazing community of women, that that we all show up in different places and different times, but no matter what you want or whatever your motivation for being here today, we fully support you, because that's what a good community does for each other.
So we have Karen said she's number 2. Grace said she's number 2 and 3. So thank you for sharing that, and hopefully we'll address some of those things today. Before we jump in, for those who don't know us, we want to tell you a little bit about ourselves. Again, I'm Barbara Anderson, and in 2020, through all of its challenges, the real gifts that I was able to receive was to have 2 new additions to my family. So on the far left, that's my son with the big old beard and his new wife, Emily. And then on the right, my daughter and her 6'7" redhead, great new son-in-law, Chris. So I was able to add 2 new people to my family. A little bit about me. I love to get outdoors. I love to go for walks on the beach. I try to eat healthy, although red wine and dark chocolate are my 2 nemesis. And Janet and I have both come from big corporate careers for large companies. In my case, American Airlines in training and development, and also for a technology company, a $3 billion technology company, where for 15 years I led community building, engaging employees in volunteering and giving, and our company's corporate responsibility strategy. And fun enough, this was an event that Janet and I attended several years ago in Chicago. I think it was a traveler-related conference, and that's Abe Lincoln. Well, it was an Abe Lincoln lookalike, but golly, seriously, look how much he looks like Janet. He sat with us, and that was kind of a little awkward.
It was. It was really weird to have. It was really weird. That's all I can say.
What's weird?
It felt a little strange. I kept looking at him like, what? It was weird. I think that we spoke at that conference, and it was. I think that's why we were there. I think we were speaking there, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. So I'm Janet. I have 2 boys who are in their mid-20s, and a cat named Kitty, and who is not walking across my desk today, thank heavens. And live in sunny St. Pete. I paddleboard whenever I can. I actually just ordered some paddle pants last night so I can get out back on the water this weekend in the chilly weather. I'm so excited. I can't even stand it. And I also have a band I perform with, and that's, you can see that's not Abe Lincoln, that's me. That's me on stage. Hopefully 2021 will bring gigging back to my life, I'm hoping. But I spent almost 20 years in a production environment in, believe it or not, commercial printing, which was absolutely amazing. Talk about having to hashtag pivot all the time. You just never know what's going to happen when you're in a high-speed production environment. It definitely helped me learn how to be quick on my toes, be quick on your feet. So I spent a long time editing publications. I managed creative teams, and I left that world to join the corporate world at Apple and then Xerox. And when I was at Xerox, I was exposed to corporate responsibility, and I wasn't in a formal role for corporate responsibility at Xerox, but started to take on some informal roles there. And I loved it so much that I couldn't think of doing anything else at the time. And that was in 2011. And I left Xerox to start my own company. And as fate would have it, crossed paths with Barbara a couple of years later, thank heavens. And so here we are. And Barbara and I are both future thinkers. We're both strategists. We usually come at things from different, completely opposite ends, but we get to the same place. And we love helping women discover their possibilities. It's definitely one of our superpowers. And we just get so giddy about it. It's just, we just love it. And so that's why we're here.
We do. And when we had an office, people would swing by and we'd wind up doing it whether they asked us or not. So a little bit about our background as well. And since we started working together, Janet and I have created a number of different companies and also communities. And that's something that really fills our heart, is to bring people together around a common topic or subject. So for example, maybe some of you are in our Fearless Sisterhood, our Facebook group, where we've got about 500 members. That we launched that in June. We've got the Better Letter. If you don't subscribe to that, maybe you should. We've got a podcast about creating responsible companies, and that's heard in over 50 countries. We've hosted several Fearless Woman Challenges, and the exciting thing is we've seen women make a lot of progress. And then the Tampa Bay Corporate Responsibility Network, where we brought together professionals around social and environmental topics. We have on our team the amazing Mia in a Minute. She's our community builder and tech tutor. We've launched in 2020 Accelerate, which is a mastermind for solo entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs. And then Awaken is a program that we have. It's a curriculum actually to help women wake up to a life you love. We'll go into that a little bit more later.
One thing that we do want you to know, though, is that everything that we coach on, everything we consult on, everything we build, everything we teach, we created from scratch. And we have used the same process over the course of years, which we're about to teach you. And really, we're able to use that process to hone in on what we're good at and what we love to do. And we learn to say no to work that drains us. It's really hard to say no to things you're like, well, I could do this and I could do this. But at some point in time, you're going to have to say no to the work that drains you, which we're going to talk about in a little while, and say yes to things that really light you up. And we did it. And we know that you can too. So imagine what it would feel like if you woke up every single morning and just said yes to the things that really light you up. So really, I want you guys just to we're going to launch into our questions in a moment, but I want you to really just close your eyes for a second and take a deep breath and really get present and think about how that would feel. Like if you woke up tomorrow morning and you're like, I'm doing what I love. Like really, what would that feel like? Because we honestly believe that getting clear on what you want to create a life you love could be the most powerful and strategic thing you do for yourself at any time, but especially this year in 2021. So open up your eyes, take a deep breath. Barbara, where are we going today?
Well, we love a good process, and we imagine the ladies who are on. So let's do a quick overview of what we're going to talk about today, and then we'll jump in. So first, we're going to teach you how to identify what you want more of in life. Next, we're going to show you how to pinpoint what's getting in your way. From there, we're going to show you how to discover your superpower. Next up, listing the skills that have moved your life forward. Then we'll explain what we mean by the modern market, how to find a modern market that works for you. And then finally, we're going to show you how to create your action plan. So if you've got your worksheet handy, go ahead and grab that. If you don't, you can get it at womendoingbetter.com/2021. And if you like what you learn here and you decide you'd like to work with us further, we'll tell you how to do that. At the end, we'll have a Q&A session, and we'll try to get as many questions as we can. But let's jump into number one, clarity. What do you want more of in life? So as we think about our life, we think about if we can equate it to a GPS. And thank goodness we have those GPSs to get us from where we are to where we want to be. And we all need a starting point when we think about getting direction somewhere. So think about your starting point, where you are in your life. What was it that got you where you are? We'll talk a little bit about that and reflecting. And we often don't give ourselves credit for the things that we do know, the skills and the strengths that we have. And of course, 2020 was different for some people. It really had a tough effect with COVID. We had political unrest, social unrest. A lot of things have changed. And how did that affect you? I think a lot of times if we sit back and think about that, and even this morning, we were talking as a team, where were we a year ago today? What was different a year ago for us today? And think about that. So focus on what your current truth is. What's your current situation? And then think about what you want, which is what we're going to talk about in a couple minutes. And next, we'll talk about number 2 in clarity.
That's right. So the first thing we need to do, we always start with the positive, right? Glass half full. Think about what you really want. And I'm talking dream big and do not hold yourself back. But I do know that as women, we do things that hold ourselves back. And we like to, we love a good process over here at Women Doing Better. So when we think about things that are holding us back, we break them down between the things that are tangible and realistic and the things that aren't so obvious. So if you think about what's getting in your way to have that thing that you want, think about 2 things. The tangible and realistic things. That is like education or training. Do you want to go back to school and get a master's in something? Do you want to become an anthropologist? Do you want to become a doctor? Things like that. If you want to learn how to script or like write script for website stuff or code, that's what it's called, code. You can tell that's not my bailiwick. Then those things are educational, technical training things. That needs to go into your tangible bucket of these are things I can actually take steps towards moving out of my way. But we also have things that are not so obvious. And those are things like limiting beliefs, fears, frustrations, and negative self-talk. And we preach about that all the time. Limiting beliefs are things that you put on yourself that are probably not founded in truth. And that could be about you. A lot of times it's social and cultural norms that we grew up with that maybe we just outgrew. And it's okay. It's okay to change your mind and give yourself some grace. We also take a look at things like negative self-talk. And that is, are you holding yourself back because you're telling yourself that you can't do that? Is that really founded in truth? The reason that it's really important to get clear on that is because your body believes what you tell it and your mind. So if somebody says something that's not very nice to you and you feel how your body reacts the exact same way when you talk to yourself that way. You can do these things. You can bucket them between tangible, intangible, figure out what is holding you back and write them all down. Start to ask yourself some questions and dig deep and find out what's getting in your way. All right, it's your turn to jump in the comments and tell us, 1, what do you want more of? And 2, what do you think is getting in the way? This morning when we were talking, we had a team meeting early this morning, which we're going to talk about a little bit later because it was really interesting. But someone said, I know that I need to do this, or I need to do that. When I hear that, I'm like, oh, you're telling yourself that, a more positive spin would be, I would like to introduce this in my life. So just be really, really careful about the words the way that you're speaking to yourself.
I do like that in that it does affect actually mentally how we think about things, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. It does, for sure. For sure. There is one of the women that's in our community said that we have to find a balance between taking care of our present self and our future self, because if not, we're just going to get to the end and not be happy about it. It's so true too. And I think that whether you're making big or small changes in your life, what matters most is your willingness to really honestly believe in yourself and seriously make yourself a priority. Really hard for women, but there's no time like the present.
And they say life is like a roll of toilet paper, Janet. The closer you get to the end, the faster it goes. So be sure and take care of yourself now, because there's no time like the present. So we covered the 2 topics with clarity. Now let's jump into confidence. And this is something that Janet and I are really passionate about, is this notion of superpower. So what is your superpower? It's usually a unique ability that you have to do something. And understanding this is really important to a happy life and to doing what you love. Usually it's something that engages and energizes you. It makes you stand out, or something that people come to you for. You might say a superpower is kind of a fun word for it. You might put a cape on when you say it, but it's typically your unique ability, or some may, in like the corporate world, call it your core competency. So a lot of times people will say, how did you become so successful? You might ask somebody else that, and they'll say, oh, I worked hard and whatever. But think back too about what is it that was unique about you in that work environment that really made you successful. So let's give an example. So for example, Janet is a data person. That's her favorite 4-letter word. Little secret there is data. Whereas she is brilliant with spreadsheets and numbers and thinking in a logical way to make a decision. Whereas I am more tuned in with people. So my natural response when I meet somebody is I turn on this mental Rolodex and try to figure out something that I can connect with them on, a common topic, or maybe even somebody I can connect them to help them out in their life. So how can you extract your superpower? Here's a few ways. Think about what makes you stand out, what things you're uniquely known for. What are the things that really make you happy and you would never, ever delegate? We all have tasks in the course of our day that we're like, you kind of got to grind through, or we have some that really bring us joy and it seems like time goes quickly. What are things that people come to you naturally for? And it's often difficult to determine what our own superpower is, but people in our lives can do it for us because it comes so naturally to us that we don't even know it's not a normal thing to be good at it. And lastly, I will say it's one of those things that you're like, wow, I could just do this every single day. So that's superpower.
Yeah, my superpower, creating order out of chaos. I love it. And I think that goes back to that living in that high-speed manufacturing environment for so long that you just had to think so quickly on your feet that it was just crazy. And so, yeah, I think that's where that comes from. If I hadn't been in that, I often wonder what would it have been something else? So let's talk about skills. Some skills we love and some we never want to have to use again. And that is perfectly fine. But what skills have you developed that really make you successful, that make you happy, that even align with what you want more of in your superpower? So when we think about skills, we think about things that we've learned formally or informally. Some we love, and some we might have learned just to get by in life. Like somebody asked you to do something and you thought, well, I'll just figure out how to do it because it'll be easier if I figure this out. And you got really good at it, but you don't want to ever do that again. And that's perfectly okay. And in Awaken, which we're going to talk about in a little while, we take a super deep dive into skills. I mean, it's a week-long deep dive into skills to get really clear on what your skills are, when you use them, how and why. But for today, let's just keep it really simple with 2 buckets. We've got hard skills, we have soft skills. So your hard skills are things that are teachable and measurable. Like maybe you're a really good writer, or you're great with math, or you can write code for computer programs, or you have some soft skills. right? So those are things like being emotionally intelligent, being able to really connect with people, to help people. We have a woman in our community who's an etiquette expert. That is definitely not only a superpower, but an amazing skill that she has as well. So some skills you may want to look at are communication skills, creative, numerical, organization, or technical skills, things like that. So in order to really excavate your skills, think through a few things. What skills have you developed that make you successful at what you do? Which ones of those make you the happiest and that you would never delegate? And then also take a look at these two gauges. We've got your engagement gauge and an energy gauge. So if you're doing this skill that you're performing, think about how engaged are you, and when you're done with it, are you drained or are you super fired up? We want the things on your list to be the ones that keep you engaged and keep you super fired up. So that's what we're looking for when we go through your skills, so that you can start to align them with what you want more of and also your superpower. All right. Do we have any superpowers out there?
I'd love to see those in the comments, what their superpowers are.
That's right. That is right. Another woman in our community said this: even though you kind of know what your strengths and skills are, it's really impactful to crystallize them so that you can create a path forward. We're looking at you in a whole new way, and that is what you're giving yourself time and space to do. And it's really amazing what you can find out when you, I like to say, get quiet and get answers. But when you get quiet and get answers, you start to see that maybe things could be a little bit different, or you could do things a little bit differently, and maybe create a little bit more happiness and peace in your life.
Hopefully these topics will give ladies some thoughts. We've got Cheryl says her superpower is helping. I can attest to that. You know, one thing too that's exciting, Janet, is we have Shirley on from United Arab Emirates, which she must be up either really up late or up early. So we thank Shirley for joining us, and Karen, our neighbor down the street in St. Petersburg. So Karen says hers is, ooh, I love this. Strategy meets creativity, writing and messaging. That is really a great one. Strategy meets creativity. Oh, that's really great.
Ooh, it's a little right brain and left brain all at the same time.
That's right. And then Grace said her superpowers are encouragement, communication, and creativity. That's so great that Grace has that identified. So thank you, ladies, for sharing. We're going to jump into number 5 now, cash flow. So there is no time like the present to think about your superpowers and your skills in what we call the modern market. The modern market is full of all kinds of possibilities. And Janet indicated earlier that we are glass half full kind of gals. And when we meet someone who has tremendous skills, which of all of us we do, we have different skills and ways we can use those, we're like, oh my gosh, she could do something with that. So what we call the modern market has a number of different possibilities. For today, we're going to cover 3. It's kind of the MOM acronym: masterminds, online courses, and memberships. So, you know, in these uncertain times, it's often scary, and making money by traditional means isn't always a possibility for us. And so what we want to do is introduce ladies on the masterclass today to these as possibilities. And these are some that Janet and I have done some deep dive studies, that we spent thousands of dollars ourselves on courses to learn how these work. And so that's why we get so excited to share these with you. So let's first jump into masterminds. Masterminds is a general term that can be used for bringing people together around a common topic. It's typically a one-way focus education, like in a workshop. Could be a 1-hour workshop. It could be an all-day workshop. In today's current environment, it probably would be an online type of an event. What's great about a mastermind too is to have an ongoing mastermind. you can have a lot of interaction. In fact, the actual term mastermind means to bring a number of people together, and through the dialogue and the interaction, actually you have one mind. So it's around a common topic that people come together. It could be a challenge, it could be opportunities, it could be something like parenting, it could be something business related, it could be something in the community. So masterminds is something that you can take your strengths and your skills and teach others or engage others around that common topic that you're knowledgeable about or you're passionate about. The next is online courses, and these are educational opportunities that are delivered over the internet. So these could be like mini courses, say like 30 minutes long, that people purchase one time, or they could be longer. They could go over weeks. We typically have taken some deep dive courses that are about 10 weeks. So an online course is a great way to take something that you are really knowledgeable about, record video lessons, maybe provide some educational resources, some PDF downloads, and make an online course. And what's great about the online course is it doesn't have to be something super scientific or anything earth-shattering like rocket science. In fact, some of the examples that Janet and I like to talk about is one lady who makes candy apples. She was a single mom with 2 children, was working from home, and she used to meet people like in community centers to teach them how to make candy apples. And then her kids said, "Mom, you're always so stressed on the weekends. You're running out to do these education things." And she came across this opportunity to create an online course and did so, and has sold that course for the first time for $42,000 in revenue, and the second time $46,000 in making candy apples. And the kicker is that she doesn't even have a proprietary recipe for the candy for the apples. She just tells you what to buy, but she shows you evidently how to make the perfect candy apples. You might have cooking courses like for singles or for couples. There's even a great opportunity, because it is an intimate environment where you're just taking a course over the internet. There's opportunities for therapy, even like sex therapy or support for women in relationships like with addicted spouses, or there's even communities that have ways to come together for abusive type relationships. Some that could be actually, one that is my new favorite that's really practical, and I actually should take this course, is how to organize your pantry. So just when you think you can't make a course about anything, think about your superpowers and your strengths and your skills, and you can put those together into a course. Lastly, I'm going to talk about memberships. So where courses are typically a one-time purchase, memberships are more ongoing. So they're typically a monthly offering. So you pay a lower price point over a period of time for that curriculum or resources. They often involve online coaching, more interaction. And the great thing about it is it provides a supportive community around a common topic. So you might think today about what you're paying memberships for, like software. Do you pay monthly for what you used to buy in a box and install on your computer? Now you pay monthly for software or online tools. You might pay for Netflix, even things that come in the mail like dog treat boxes, or I have an app that I use to track my food and weight. And so there's all types of monthly memberships. The other ones that are, give you some examples, is a colleague of ours. Her name is Tripti, and she's actually in India, and she has a monthly membership about how to paint with watercolor. She had a storefront, and in COVID, she had to shut that down, and actually now has this online course to teach people how to paint with watercolor, whether you're a beginner or more advanced. And what's great is she has even added a second option to that, where she now makes her own colors, chooses the paintbrushes, and sends those out as a separate membership to support the online teaching. You might find memberships like dog training or pet parenting, couples counseling. There's certainly a lot of memberships around exercising. And One other lady we'd like to spotlight is a friend of ours in the UK who is actually very knowledgeable about young children and how to play with them to help them developmentally. So get a load of this. She, several times a week, does online examples of how to play with infants. She used to have a business where she would teach teach parents how to play with their baby. And now she's taken this to an online membership where people watch her play with the babies, and then they see the advantage of that and the benefit of whatever it is that she teaches. But she gets paid now a handsome sum to play with babies all week long. So that's not a bad thing too. And she actually just introduced a box membership as well, where she sends out the tools and toys and that type of thing to go along with it. So there's a number of opportunities to do both an online only membership or even like the more tangible one, like a lady who now teaches people how to make door hangers, which I didn't realize that was a thing. But like you think about seasonal or different holidays, you might change what's on the front of your door. And she's now making over 6 figures a year teaching people how to make door hangers. So there's all kinds of different ways, including like educational activities or toys or resources for children or adults around a certain topic. So Janet, that is a long-winded way to say there's an opportunity for everybody to take what you know and love and turn it into a way to make cash flow, either short-term as like a side hustle or turn it into a business, isn't there?
That is exactly right. And all of those people, they found what they really love to do and what they were really, really good at, and all those things that they could deliver really well, like Tripti. She could have just closed her store and not done anything, but she didn't do that. Yes, she had to close her store, but she took her class online, and then she took the inventory that was at her store, and now she's turned it into a box membership. So hashtag pivot is the word of the day for us today, because we experienced it early this morning, and we're going to tell you about that in a moment. But really, honestly, guys, think through how you can take what you want more of, what you love, what your superpower is, what your skills are. I know that there's some probably you're thinking, well, I couldn't do that because I don't have technology skills or whatever. Listen, you can outsource that stuff and you can figure out a way. There are videos that you could do to get you started, but there's lots and lots of people who can help you with that part of it. But what we want you to do is not focus on what you can't do, but focus on what you can do. So think about that. Like, what could you teach a course on? I know that there's Karen talks about creativity and strategy and communication. Can you imagine if Karen taught a course for young writers who are out of college and maybe just starting in an agency or something like that? She could teach a course on how to really have, a strategic conversation in a creative manner. That would be amazing, right? Or a mastermind board or something like that. So really think through those things and figure out where you fit. Do a little research. Find out if there's other people that are doing that same thing that you may want to do. So we love fill in the blanks because it allows us to just kind of move things around, shoo them around a little bit. So for your 2021 action plan, we gave you fill in the blanker. So to have more of whatever that thing is, that key decision number 1 in your life, this is your action plan. By removing whatever key decision 2 is it negative self-talk? Is it actually getting training? I can use my key decision 3 superpower with my key decision 4 skills to do whatever you want to do. Do you want to do a mastermind? Do you want to have an online course? Do you want to have a membership, something like that, by doing that thing that you love? Is it like our colleague in the UK playing with babies? I mean, really, who gets to do that? We have another really cool example where some guys had a really amazing, they really know how to create really amazing lawn services. And so they have this whole thing called lawnpreneurs. And these guys, I think there's some women in there too, they teach people who want to start a lawn company how to start a lawn company. And they are uber duper successful. So think through that action plan and really think through too. Like dream big. Don't limit yourself. Just go for it. See what happens. Get quiet and get answers.
There are so many opportunities out there. In fact, we'd like to ask you a question. How would your life be different if you could make money doing what you love? And we often think that that might not be possible, but it is. And a lot of times we start small. We might work with one or two people and kind of teach them what we know, and it can evolve from one thing to the other. And what we always say is you just learn along the way, but you just jump in. So imagine if you could make money on the side or have a business. And you know what the greatest thing about this, Janet, is that you can make an impact. And we hear from so many women who are involved in our Fearless Sisterhood who are doing things with what they've learned, and the impact that they're making and the ripple effect is really life-changing for a lot of people. So how can you start today? So here's what we offered in our communications in advance, that we wanted to give you our #1 super secret, no cost solution. Regardless of whether you think you want to do something with your strengths and skills in the modern market, the best thing you can do now is when you identify those topics that Janet outlined there in Key Decision 7, and you hone in on 1 or 2 areas that you think you're interested in, just start building a following. There's so many social media channels now that you can do this completely free. Start posting pictures about what you're doing. Start creating videos. Just go live here and there for maybe even a couple minutes at a time, asking questions about people who might be interested in the same topic that you're interested in or that you're really good at. And it just is a ripple effect. We had one young gal who was participated in our Fearless Woman Challenge in December, and it inspired her to use what she loved, which is making breakfast, to create a Instagram account. And she's like, I'll just start putting pictures up there. So she got kind of strategic about the way she took the pictures. She used the same plate or the same bowl, put it against the same backdrop, and just took pictures of what she cooked. And she had so much fun with it. She started posting. Then she learned about what hashtag to use that other people were following. And she started a month ago, and she has over 700 followers. And so she's having so much fun. She even had Quaker Oats comment on one of her posts. So it's just something that you start. It's something that you already love and you're interested in. So that is our super secret tip and no cost solution for regardless of what you do. You can get started today, can't you, Janet?
That is right. And by the way, she's a sophomore in college studying communications, and she got so inspired by going through the Fearless Woman Challenge. She's like, I'm going to try this and see what happens. And it was just really amazing. So you never know where life is going to lead you, which is brings us up to our next subject, which I'm super excited about. We have a special guest to talk to you about. But first, before we do that, yes,
let's bring her on. We should have said that at the beginning, because we have somebody who actually has put all of this into practice.
She has. And here's my big disclaimer. She's one of my best friends. So there you go. And she was actually part of when we've mentioned Fishbowl with Friends a little bit here and there. We talk about it in Awaken, but Candace I brought all my girlfriends together and like, what do I do? Where do I go? And she was part of the original Fishbowl with Friends back in 2011. And during the last year, she actually was preparing to retire from a job of 20 years. We actually started her retirement countdown clock 8 years ago. And as it got closer, we got more excited. It was also a lot of anxiety there, right? Because it's just really hard to leave a role like that. And I would venture to say that during that time, definitely over the last year together, my biggest lesson watching Candace move through this time was just patience. Like Barbara and I are jumping up and down going, oh my God, she could do this and she could do that. And, just watching for her life. Right? And then also, Candace and I spend time on Duo on Saturday mornings. We used to live close to each other, and then we moved apart from each other. And so we do this on Saturday mornings. We've done it for, gosh, a good solid 9 months now. And it really helped us. It's helped me to inform what we do in Women Doing Better and in Awaken, and really just how not to overwhelm, but how to be gentle and how to allow vulnerability and how to know when people are in the dip and when you need to get out of the dip and all that stuff. And you know what? That's exactly what she did last week. And I can't wait for her to share her story. So bring her up.
Let's see, Candace.
Hey, friends, how are you?
Good.
Welcome.
Well, thank you. Thank you. What a great intro. And disclaimer, yes, she's one of my besties. And little did I know I was one of her guinea pigs.
You were a total guinea pig. You were a total guinea pig. And I knew early on when we were getting, like when we got in within that 1 year calendar of you retiring, I started thinking, gosh, what are we going to do? And you had all this anxiety. And I'm thinking, oh no, we got to get through this anxiety because she's going to be amazing no matter what she ends up doing. She's going to be amazing. We just have to get past there's this point of leaving roles. Like when I left my role at Xerox, it took me a good 60 to 90 days to unwind and remember who I was. And I knew that would happen for you. We just had to be patient. We just had to be patient. So can you tell us a little bit about your background and also the most important part, what in the world happened to you last week?
Okay, so let me start with the good news, right? So 8 days ago, I introduced to the world, I guess, my little 400 group Facebook friends. I went live with my very first company. And it took a hot minute. I was literally shaking so bad I couldn't text. But when I hit publish on my first Facebook page for my business, to those 400 people, I felt completely naked. I will not kid you. It was my undoing that day. It was exhausting. But to my surprise, I am happy to report 8 days later, I have 240 followers. So I guess the guinea pig experiment has been working. And everybody should have a Janet and a Barbara in their life, whether you're conscious of their efforts or like me, not quite up to speed as to what they were doing in the background as they were spoon feeding this information to me. So big shout out. But all of this comes on the heels of a retirement just a little over 60 days ago, after 21 years of federal service with the FBI. And that was a no joke career, and in a male dominated field, I found myself actually, quite surprisingly to me, being quite proficient with firearms. Never really shot them before. And so when I landed in the FBI Academy, I realized, oh man, this is pretty easy. But I didn't realize that, folks, is one of my superpowers. Those are one of my hard skills now, 21 years later. So for the last 18 years within the FBI, I've been a firearms instructor. So it just made sense that when I got out, especially having experienced very few female firearms instructors in my field, and having the privilege to be able to pass along those skills to other women and men in my outfit. But the light bulb moments were with the women, that really felt like a whole renewed sense of empowerment and confidence, because firearms are the great equalizer. You don't muscle a gun. It's 95% mental. And the other 5% are just the correct application of, the fundamentals. But the women have the advantage in the 95% mental part. I will tell you that from experience. So it just seemed like a logical fit. When you leave federal service, what do? I had the benefit of all that great training. And I really love to see women come from a place of maybe a little less confident than they were before. And then just the simple mastering of that one skill, how it spills over into so many other aspects of their life. So that's just been a kick.
So you launched actually your company. Tell us what your company does.
So my company the idea is to train specifically women, civilian women, in the use of gun handling. And that's kind of the end result, but it's much more than that. It's taking personal responsibility for their own safety, for their own awareness, and again, how that spills over into other aspects of their life. Maybe it allows them to get out of a bad relationship, or take a larger part in their finances at home if they're married, or in other words, you're not relying on anyone else for that independence and that safety and that security. So
I think that's one of the greatest things that I've learned from you, Candace, in however long it is that we've been friends, is awareness. And being with you, I became super, super, super aware of my surroundings in a way that I had never done before. And I was sitting someplace the other day and somebody said, "Why do you always sit there?" And I said, "Because I can't have my back to the window." I need to see what's coming in the door. But just being aware of your surroundings and feeling like, and just learning how to feel more confident just by a few of these little things, the small changes that you can make in your life has been really, really amazing. So I have a question for you. We talked about how Barbara and I learned how to say no to things that drain us and yes to things that light you up. And it sounds like you had to get through a little bit of those processes to finally hone in and go, yes, women, this is where I'm going to, I think this is the lane that I'm going to stay in. How did you feel when you were trying to figure out what to say no to and what to say yes to? Like, how did you work through that?
Well, initially I thought that I would just teach firearms to anybody who wanted to learn. And then going through the steps that you guys put me through, I realized that the subset of the population, women, actually have more to gain in terms of confidence, in terms of self-reliance, especially when it comes to firearms, because let's face it, for the most part, it's a male, guy-dominated sport, hobby, occupation, and I think that women are intimidated by those things, and rightfully so. A lot of women, when they approach a gun range or when they talk to their friends or their family about protecting themselves or carrying concealed or having a gun in their car, social norms are, are you sure you want to do that? Those are dangerous. And little lady, those kinds of condescending, whether they're being, trying to be, condescending or not, sometimes that's how it comes across. So I just think that there are, and one of the tenets that you guys have are that there's the riches are in the niches. I think that there are fewer female firearms instructors. And I feel like I have a responsibility to share that skill that I was privileged to obtain to the demographic that needs it the most.
Including me.
Yay!
I have a weapon that someone gave me for protection. We shot it for maybe 15 minutes and I'm like, okay, I know how to use it. But if I had to go get it right now and use it, and imagine on top of that in an emergency, and I've talked with friends for a couple of years, like, oh, I need to learn how to do that, but I never stopped. But now that you're offering a course and training, that's forced me to stop, and I can't wait till you get going.
Well, and I love that, and I think training is just the very beginning, because I really feel compelled to create an actual community where typical topics come up about situational awareness or gun cleaning or gun handling or gun storage or what are the laws in Florida or where you live, that pertained to when should I draw out of the holster? So it doesn't just stop with training. It begins with training, actually,
Right.
and continues with community, in my opinion.
Well, I'm so happy for you.
Yeah, we are very excited. What advice would you give to other women who are facing change? And we've talked about this, and change can come in a multitude of different looks and feels. Are they empty nesters? Are they retiring? Relationship changes. For other women who are facing change, and you faced a big one this year, what kind of advice would you give them to kind of say, hey, it's going to be okay? What do you think?
Well, I think remember that you can do hard things. We're so quick to get past what we've done and not take a look back and go, oh my gosh, I got through that. I survived that. I nailed that, that kind of thing. So remember, you can do hard things. I would also say focus on the outcome, not the hard things, that are in front of you. Stay inspired by what you're passionate about or what angers you or what energizes you. Couple that with the superpower you guys talk about. Keep focused on, why you're doing it. And I think that keeps the machine oiled, keeps you moving forward, keeps that momentum. I'd say be patient. Inspiration doesn't happen all at once. You don't just wake up and say, I had this great dream and I was divinely inspired. Maybe it does. Good for you if it does. But give yourself a little time, a little patience. Some things, I get overwhelmed pretty easily, especially with a lot of content that I'm not familiar with. So it takes me a minute for those things to marinate and to come to full flavor. Let that tea bag steep a little while. I'd also say pay attention to opportunities that present themselves. When you start manifesting what your intentions are, what your superpowers are, what you think you might want to do, whether you believe in God or the universe or what, those opportunities will present themselves. So pay attention and be ready to walk through a door if it opens. And I guess that's really it. Really, really dig deep and find out what inspires you or what pisses you off or what makes you happy, what energizes you. It might be one and not the other. But if you can start to narrow it, regardless of how you come at it, I think that it will inspire you to take those hard skills that you have and couple them with those passions and those inspirations to move forward. So the work's not over. It's never really over. I mean, I still have to teach class.
Well, and I have to say, I'm so proud of all the steps that you've taken. And Janet has been such a great guide for you along this journey and such a great friend. And it's one thing to know about these opportunities, and it's another to take action. And you have taken big, massive action, and look where it's gotten you. And you do not have all the answers, and you're going to make mistakes. But what I love is that you see a vision and you're going towards it. And it makes me feel so great to be in some way remotely involved in knowing that you're going to help women possibly save their lives. I mean, that's a really big deal.
Well, thank you for those kind words and constant encouragement. And ladies, find your community, whether it's this one or, a group of ladies at home and friends. Encourage one another relentlessly. We need it. It absolutely makes a difference. So thank you for that. And I just hope that those passions that everyone is seeking translates into something equally as rewarding.
Thank you for being with us today, and thank you for sharing your story, because it's so amazing, and we're all so proud of you. And I know that you say that you don't do vulnerable well, and who does, right? Who does? Everybody here knows that I cry all the time. I haven't cried during our master classes at all. I can't believe it. But you have to do that. You have to be vulnerable, and you have to get that community that you feel safe and vulnerable in. When Candace and I lived close to each other, she had this green velvet sofa, And so we would say, are you going to come over and sit on the sofa on Sunday? And that was where we started that kind of just sitting down and getting quiet and really understanding the objective input of girlfriends in everybody's different points of view that really help you get, help you on a really solid path forward.
Yeah, because remember, iron sharpens iron, you know. Have those tough questions. Ask hard questions. Don't be afraid to give really authentic, loving feedback, even if it's hard to hear. Iron sharpens iron. So we can do this.
We can. Thank you. Thank you for being here. I love you, friend.
I love you too. Thanks so much.
Okay.
What a great story. Yeah.
8 years. 8 years we started planning her. We counted down her retirement from 8 years, and when it got to that 1 year, I'm like, so what are you gonna do? So it's been quite a time. And if you think Candace had a big week, wait till you tell us what happened to us this morning.
We did. This morning, we have been offering this program Awaken, that we have a curriculum, and we want to walk you through it. And we step back, and we've been listening to ladies and as part of our Fearless Sisterhood and friends about this journey and what women are facing now. And right now we've got horrific numbers with pandemic. We've got social unrest, racial unrest. We've got a lot of unknowns. And so we are excited to share with you something that just in the last few hours, #pivot, that we've chosen to do. So why don't we jump into that, Janet?
Let's do that. Yes, we started talking last night, and we got in this morning, and we're like, you know what? We've got to do something different. And this is why, because when we're all together and we talk about change, we see that we say, okay, yes, I'm going to do this. And then you've got basically two options. You've got like option one, try to do it alone, which after our conversation with Candace, like that usually doesn't work, because you just, we don't want you to be in that same place where you were, but you could be. And maybe, option one, be an island, work by myself. But how far forward are you really going to move? We personally don't want that for you. Option two is you say, you know what, I'm worth it. I'm going to commit to participating in a community where I really want to make the changes that I need to make, and I'm going to be surrounded by other women who are doing the exact same thing. So option one, by yourself. Option two, not by yourself. So we'd like to ask you a question. If you would like to join a community that will help you develop your plan and discover new possibilities to create a life you really love. And this is where we pivoted this morning when we were thinking about what women really need. And they need community and they need encouragement. And so we completely changed everything today.
Yeah, so let's tell you about our program Awaken. And this is a program that we launched last year, had a group of women go through with tremendous success. We'll share some of their comments here as we go. It is the only program of its kind that takes you by the hand to figure out exactly who you are and what you want, so that you can create a life you love without always having to wonder, could I have done whatever that is? So here's, for example, one of the participants from Awaken. I was able to see that I wasn't alone as relationships grew in the community. It became like, oh, she's struggling with that too? Or, you know what, that's a great idea. Or maybe I could do that. And that was something that Sharon, who participated in Awaken, said that she did not expect.
So what is exactly Awaken, and what do you do inside of it? One of the first things you do is learn how to create 10 healthy routines. We go through a ranking of 8 components of a life inventory. It's amazing. And we look at the results from 3 proven personal characteristics tests. Usually people take tests and they just sit on the shelf, but we take a super deep dive into them. We will share with you a guided technique to obtain valuable input from those who know you best, discover those key skills that differentiate you from each other, or from others, explore possibilities in what we just talked about in the modern market to see if there's a good fit for you there. Really help you rediscover your passions. Really make space for it, guys. Like, really make space for it and activate your purpose. And then we bring it all together in this nifty tool we call the Awaken Assessment Tool, so that at the end of that time, which really, as Candace said a moment ago, it never really ends. We're always creating and recreating, but you can create some really good solid options using all of the information that you just found out about yourself to figure out what your best next steps are.
So let's dive a little bit deeper into what Awaken is. It's got technically 7 modules. So module 0 is called Set Up for Success. There's a welcome video. You learn the Awaken Creed, where you decide to make change. You learn storytelling techniques, create a workbook binder. You get Janet's journal system, which has changed a number of lives. And we provide a module on good communication skills. In module 2 is called Setting a Healthy Foundation, discovering your values, how to tell your own story on video, healthy daily routines, and an activity called the Personal Value Card Store. In module 2, assess your life, yourself and your life. We have the activity Wants and Don't Wants, which we provided earlier, so you can see a sample of that. Identifying limiting beliefs, correcting negative self-talk, and we take the Enneagram test. And as Janet said, we go deep into that. Also in module 3, we go through Myers-Briggs and Clifton Strengths Finder. And by the time you go through all 3 of those, you will be clear on what your strengths and skills are. In module 3, we also explore your purpose. In module 4, inventorying your skills. We go through a skills inventory. We learn what skills are in demand today. We talk about today's tech tools and how business works in the modern market, including the new concepts in online business models that we reviewed earlier. Module 5 is rediscovering your passions, connecting purpose with passion. We go through the activity that Janet referenced called Fishbowl with Friends. That is something where you bring together the people closest to you in your life to provide you feedback on what your best next steps might be. And that actually was life-changing for everyone that was in Awaken last time. And we teach you how to research modern market offerings that might match you. And then lastly, in module 6, Awaken to your unique life of purpose. We put it all together and create 3 solid options for career and life next steps. And all along the way, you'll fill in your results in a tool that we created called the Awaken Assessment Tool. So you have a summary of your results as you go, and it builds on each other throughout the course of the program. So normally what we charge for the Awaken program with the total value of $1,997. And what that includes, and this is an online course, as we said earlier, it has online videos, it has audios, PDF guides, templates, and activity instructions. And what's so great about it is you get access to a private portal where you log in. You can watch the videos as much as you want. You download the templates and the activity instructions, and all of it is completely searchable. You can even take this course on your phone, your mobile device, or on a computer. So everything is completely searchable, audios, videos, and transcripts. And we also have a private Awaken Facebook group, don't we, where we've got women in there, Janet, that we know are excited to welcome the new members.
That's right. There's a lot of good stuff that happens over in that group, a lot of support and questions and community building and things like that, for sure. So we've got all of the training modules completely searchable, downloadable. You can download them and go take a walk if you want to really, give yourself some time. We also have coaching inside of it. So we've got monthly coaching where we come together, we might take a deep dive on a topic, we might be coaching through certain sections of the program, but we've got coaching and Q&A sessions with me and Barbara, and that will be really amazing. And then look at our total value starts building up. But guys, stay with us because this is where we had our big hashtag pivot moment this morning. we're not extra special, right? We don't have access to exclusive experts or anything like that. All we did was take what we have proven, our proven roadmap that we follow every single time we make a decision to teach other women how they can navigate their personal and business and career and life changes. And that is what Awaken is about.
So we already told you about the bonus number 1, which is the monthly life coaching with Janet and I. And based on feedback from the women who are in Awaken, which was incredibly positive, we decided to add an additional type of communication and community building. And we call these monthly breakout brainstorm sessions. And this is where our community builder, Mia, will be leading the participants in the Awaken membership to learn from each other, to commiserate and share, and to celebrate with each other as well in small group sessions. So while we have to our private Facebook group. So as you think about your consideration for Awaken, and we're super excited about introducing something that we haven't yet ever. In addition, we have a money back guarantee. And so you've got 14 days to get in, look around. You'll have access immediately to a number of the modules that are in the program. And if you can show that you've done the work and you've taken some time to look at everything, we've got a complete money back guarantee within 14 days.
So we've got our whole Awaken program, all the stuff that we talked about, all the videos, audio, searchable, everything. We've got monthly coaching. We've got the breakout brainstorm sessions, which are just completely amazing. And all of the value is well over $6,000. Originally, we were selling our course, and we have sold Awaken and at $747 to come in and do the course all at one time. But this is what happened to us this morning, Barbara.
Screech! Hashtag pivot. We had a deep dive discussion about what women really needed. And right now we think that, and we've heard from women that we really need community. We need support from each other. And there's magic in community. That's a saying I love to use. Because when we come together, we've got collaboration. We're supportive of each other. We're honest with each other. And I think about times that I spend with colleagues and girlfriends who there's just nothing like it when women come together. So today we did hashtag pivot, and we're offering something we didn't, well, we've talked about it for several weeks, but we decided to go ahead and do that today. So what we're offering today is a completely different format, where Janet said we have been selling this program for $747. We're going to change it to an ongoing membership. So this is a month in, month out opportunity to get involved with the Awaken membership at a monthly price of only $20. This is crazy. This is the $747 program that's actually worth several $1,000s. Or an opportunity to subscribe for the full year for $200. And so what that allows you to do is get 2 months free when you pay in full. This program is going to start here soon. We've already got all the materials here, and we're ready to get going. And so what we wanted to do is make this an affordable opportunity for anybody who's going through anything to receive the support that you need.
So yes, that was our life at 11 o'clock, or no, 10 o'clock this morning when we said, what do women really need? They need to be reminded of who they are. We need to get you unstuck. Maybe you're exhausted because you're doing work that just doesn't light you up anymore, or maybe you just want more. We asked you about that at the beginning. And so for $20 a month to get access to the information that's in Awaken, and I got to tell you, my journal system is at the beginning of it, and it's there for a reason, because we really want you to have a solid foundation. In the first few weeks, or the first parts of the membership are learning exactly that, learning how to build a solid foundation, how to tell your story, really getting comfortable with who you are so that as you move through the rest of the modules in Awaken, you can just make even greater progress. So for $20 a month, access to Awaken, or if you pay in full for $200 for the whole year, you get 2 months free.
So to sign up, you can go to womendoingbetter.com/awaken. There's more information. But let's just revisit, and then we're going to open it up for Q&A. Let's revisit why you're here today. You showed up today, even though, like us, you're probably incredibly busy, but you came for a specific reason. And why is that? Maybe you want to be reminded of your worth, of your strengths and your passions. You might feel stuck because you didn't know you had such viable options. Or perhaps you're exhausted from work that just doesn't light you up. Or maybe you want more. You're intrigued by the idea that you can explore options to create a life you love in all new ways.
So one of the first questions we usually get is how much time? I don't have time. I don't have time to make change in my life. Like, we all have time to make change in our life. One of the reasons that we pivoted Awaken to a monthly membership is to actually give you time to participate. So you don't feel like before it was a 6-week, 45-day program. It's open now. You go at your own pace. We have a community that's waiting for you to say, hey, I learned how to do this in my journal system, or hey, I took the deep dive on the Enneagram and wow, you won't believe what I found out. And so it allows you to really make time to participate. One of the other questions we get, or we had been getting, is about money. And so we solved that problem by making Awaken a monthly membership that you can easily invest in. I pay $20-something a month for my Netflix. I'd pay $20 for Awaken, 100%. We're quick to pay for other things that other people need. And $20 a month to put yourself in the driver's seat, I think, is a really good investment of your time. One of the other questions we get is that no one's really sure if their experience or their strengths or their skills can really be like repurposed into doing something that you love. And sometimes maybe they don't need to get repurposed. Maybe you've put something on the back burner that you've always wanted to do and you just need to learn how to do it. But it's okay. We hear this a lot. But when you take a fresh start or a fresh look at who you are, at your values, we take a deep dive into values. We didn't talk about that. I don't think we talked about that. In one of the first weeks in the Awaken membership, you will find out what your personal values are. Personal values are foundational to everything that drives you. And so when you do that, you'll see that they start to line up with your strengths and skills, and it's going to light something up inside of you, and you're going to wake up and go, oh my gosh, I think I've got it, and we're going to be here to clap with you and applaud.
So before we jump into the Q&A, a couple other things that we want to address that we've heard is that I've tried programs before and they didn't help. And when we developed Awaken, we were very specific about what we wanted. We wanted a curriculum of proven tools, not only that others have used, but Janet and I, and the combination and the recipe, if you will, of what we put together in Awaken is a solid curriculum that we've got several testimonials from previous participants. We also wanted coaching because that is our superpower, as we talked about earlier. This is something that we love to encourage women to really explore what they could do, put the wind in their sails, and make sure they have the tools that they need to succeed. And then lastly, there is indeed magic in community. And that's why we built in the community piece of it, so that we can be there, be supportive for each other. And we know that old saying that you get more from giving than receiving. And so oftentimes that is what we each individually bring to the recipe, is giving to others in community. And then lastly, you might think this is out of my comfort zone, that I'm uncomfortable being vulnerable. And that's what's so great, is this is an online process that you can go at your own pace. Now that we've transformed it into a membership, And you can do the tools on your own. You can participate as much or as little as you want in the online coaching. We encourage you to, or into the brainstorm breakout sessions. But here's what we can commit to you is that if you get involved, you get engaged in the activities and you do the work, that you will have a community there, including Janet and I and Mia, to support you. So we know you can do this and you are worth it.
One more thing, a quick peek. Lots of training modules that are chock full of so much good information, you're just not even going to believe it. All the totally searchable videos, audios, downloadables, take them on a walk. If you're like me, maybe you don't like to watch videos all the time and you really like to read. That's one of the reasons that we transcribed all of the audio that's in Awaken so that you can read and take notes and print stuff and circle it. And then our monthly coaching sessions, and of course our breakout sessions where you can really start to brainstorm some ideas with others and grow those relationships inside the community. And that's Awaken. And we're super excited. $20 for a monthly subscription, $200 for an annual subscription, which means you get 2 months free. And if you're ready to get started, you can go to womendoingbetter.com/awaken and read some more about it. You can always email us at hello@womendoingbetter.com and we'll respond just as soon as we can.
We will. So why don't we go to questions now, Janet, and see, why don't you put into the comments any questions that you have about the program. And I almost sound like an infomercial that we really honestly have never done this before. And this was when we laid our heads on the pillow last night. We hadn't decided to open this program to a monthly, but this feels right in my heart that this is something that we can really help other women. And we were trying to brainstorm some creative ways with our existing community to build support. And we already have it built. We just needed to open it and make it more available to more women in whatever situations that they have going on in their lifetime. So we would love to answer any questions you have. One that we have received is, what do I receive when I buy now? You will receive some of the tools already that are in Awaken. And then we're going to start the coaching February 1st. To Janet and I will welcome everybody in the orientation. It will be an opportunity to continue to join later. Everything that we do that we coach on will be recorded, so that'll be available in the inventory. But to address some of the feedback that we received from the ladies who went before it, it was a lot of information to do in 6 weeks. And we want to make sure that you, in whatever situation you have, you can go at your own pace. You can engage as much as you want to. And in addition to the coaching and the brainstorm breakout sessions, we also have the private Facebook group, which a lot of women really put their support for each other. They'd ask questions, they'd high five. So it really becomes a nice, tight-knit community.
That's right. We say that a lot. Tight-knit community, because that's what it is. We need this so bad. When we were talking about, we finished up our day yesterday, and we have long days, but we finished up our day yesterday and there was just like this pit in my stomach. And I thought, we've got to change this. And we got up this morning, got on Zoom, which we do all day, every day these days, and said, we have to make some really tough decisions today. Like, how are we going to help more women the fastest? And that's what we decided to do, to open up Awaken as a membership. So if you think you may be right for the membership or not right for the membership, just think about this. Like, think about where you were a year ago. Think about things that you want to get done this year. Do you have a system for it? Do you have a community for it? All of those good things. And at a price point of $20 a month, that's why we kind of made that change in Awaken, so that we can really start to build that community and be there for each other and talk through things like, oh, I've got a journal hack, or hey, I took this Myers-Briggs and I found out that I can stop apologizing for who I am. I have one of my Myers-Briggs, which I retook it. I changed this year for the first time, but I'm an ENTJ, and we're like 1% of the population, and we come off as really strong individuals. And I took a lot of heat for that when I was in corporate. And when I went back and I looked at my Myers-Briggs, I was like, well, why have I been apologizing for myself all this time? I'm really special. I'm only 1% of the population. Get used to it, people. Put yourself in the driver's seat. Stop apologizing for yourself. Dig deep, learn, get in a community, and let's make 2021 like really freaking awesome.
Yeah, I do hope these 7 key decisions have helped the ladies and to help to expose you to new opportunities and new support in a community, an existing community, but with some new friends. And we've actually become family, I would say. Mm-hmm. We had a reunion with we call Awakers last week, and it is a special time. So we are going to wrap up if we don't have any other questions. And as we talked about this morning, Janet, we're all going through so many life changes, like empty nesters now, or maybe changes in careers, or we've had to pivot because maybe there's been changes in family members. And this is Awaken is kind of like awaken to whatever the next step is in your life. And we would like to be there for you. It gives us great joy to be supportive. We shared with you earlier a number of the programs that we've started, and those were all free programs that we did because we wanted to build community, because there is so much power in that. So Janet, what would you say as we wrap up here?
I would just say this, that if we can pivot, so can you. We'd love to have you come and join us in Awaken. Really make yourself a priority this year. Something, as women, we don't do often, but make yourself a priority. There are a lot of crazy things going on in our world last year. I think it's going to be just as nutty this year. So there's no time like now to really get focused on yourself and get focused on the things that are real and that really will make a difference in your life. And hopefully you'll join us in Awaken. And we super appreciate your time today and just being here.
That's right. And you might know somebody who would like to go through it with you or instead of you. So feel free to share that website, womendoingbetter.com/awaken, where there's a lot more information that Janet and I weren't able to share today. So thank you for your time. Let us know if you have any questions. You can email hello@womendoingbetter, and we're happy to respond there as well. So thank you, guys and gals.